Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the April 9th meeting of the CDC Board. First thing on our agenda is public comments. Seeing none?
I have one.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just asking the superintendent, last year we brought up the thing about the podium for graduation. Just didn't know where
Yes.
that was or if it was still in the works. That's all.
I will check with Mr. Kuhn in the morning.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Fran. Thank you, Mike. Seeing no other comments, we'll move on to the presentation of the Auditors Report. Welcome.
Good evening, good to be back again. Alan Walther usually is here, and I think he usually does a little presentation for you, and I come and sit there and watch him, and then we leave together, but he couldn't make it tonight, so you're stuck with me. I'm not gonna go through the whole report, I think you guys have had it. I'll just give you a quick summarization. If you have any questions afterwards, I'll try to answer them. I am the manager in charge to oversee the audit. I have my two staff that come with me. They do all the work, I review it, and here we are. So hopefully I can answer your questions if you have any. I'm just gonna start on page 46. It's the summary of auditor's results. This whole packet, there's only two things in here that is the product of ours. It's the audit report and then the report on internal control. The auditor's report, we issued an opinion on your financial statements. It's unmodified. It's the highest level of assurance you can get. And then the second report, which is in the back on pages, starts on 44, I think it's 44 and 45. It's an internal control report. We don't issue an opinion on internal control. We get an understanding, we test your controls, helps us plan the audit, and then if we had material weaknesses, significant deficiencies, or non-compliance with grants, contract agreements, your state agreement, anything like that, it would be noted here. We had none of those. So again, that was a clean report, if you will, given that there's no opinion there. Financial statement findings, there were none. So that's a good thing. And I just want to say Stephanie and her staff, it's great working with them, very well prepared, and things went very smooth this year, so, as always. Before I move on to the letter, any questions? The letter, I'm just going to go over real quick. It's a required communication. Basically, there's nothing in here of significance this year. If you had a new accounting principles, like next year you'll have, well, you don't even have an OPEB, but if there was a new GASB that you had to implement next year, it would show up here. There's nothing new this year. Your estimates in here, they're disclosed in the footnotes. Significant footnotes are here. If we had any corrected or uncorrected misstatements, we had no journal entries, so we didn't pass on any journal entries. If we had disagreements with management, it would be in this letter. Or if you guys consulted with another accountant to get a second opinion, if you will, they should contact us, but as far as we know, there were no other consultations. So that's just the summary of that letter. There's nothing in there of significance at all.
Good for a year?
Good.
Okay.
Can you tell us what the fund balance was?
I actually wrote that down, anticipating that. Your general fund balance, it went up $72,000. Off the top of my head, I can look at. So you increased it this year, which is a good thing. And if you look on page
15.
Thank you. 15, you'll see your fund balance in the general fund is a little over $1 million, $1,068,000, $69,000.
Thank you.
Do you ever look at any of the contracts between us and the MAU district? Because there's an allocation of costs and so forth.
We get an understanding of it and we test it, we look at it analytically, and then if it's swung, and I know there was, the kind of agreement has changed the past couple of years, so yeah, we do test that.
Good.
Thank you.
I have one question, and actually, it's not for you. It's for the audit. During March, when we had the town meeting, the question was asked for the BSD board, how come the audit comes after the budget? Well, right. In other words, can we have the audit before the March meeting?
It's a question for the auditors.
Are you asking?
can you have the audit report before you have the March meeting?
Correct.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just that they wondered, at least for the VSD, they wondered, how can you print that out without an audit? The budget.
We rely on, like, by that point, our budget was or our audit was substantially completed before, when we did our budget.
Right, and so
And you also, don't you run on certain basic financial principles that?
Yes.
Yeah, that, it's not like, yeah.
Well, it's just the question was asked, I don't want it to be asked about next year, you know.
Right, right.
And so the dominoes will fall, and is it possible?
Sure, absolutely, we could get it done a month earlier.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one question that I don't understand. On page 16, there's a net pension liability of a negative almost 121,000.
Okay. That, it's GASB 68, it's a paper entry as well. So the state of Vermont goes and they have an actuarial calculation done of the whole state's pension liability for ERS and the teacher side. Now, there's this thing called GASB 68, which required that calculation. It's literally, it's just paper. I mean, it's
Okay.
eventually, I don't know how to describe it other than eventually, sure, you're gonna pay your share of the pension costs, but what they tried to do with that GASB 68 is make it so if you were a business, everybody's reporting on the same playing field, so each school district now has to report that. Whereas
Okay.
before, that was never,
It was never there.
it was never there, so they tried to say, okay, you have 100 employees, they're gonna live X number of years, this is gonna be their pension, based on the factors that they calculate, which beyond me, but they plug it into their formula and they say, this is your share of the pension liability.
Okay.
It's a.
So we don't have to come up with 121,000?
No, and then, that deferred outflow, you'll see if you looked on page, the deferred outflow looks like an asset. If you looked at page, I wanna say,
43?
now it's the front, it's the first financial statement. Page 13. So underneath your non-current asset, you have deferred outflow resources, $61,000. Looks like you have an asset of $61,000, And the same thing with the deferred inflow, looks like a liability for, it's on paper.
We do need these audit reports.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anything else, folks? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, let's move on to the consent agenda. The minutes of the Regional Governors Board full meeting on Monday, March 19th, 2018. May I have a motion?
I'll move them.
Second.
Franny moved, Ken second. Any discussion? Seeing none, please raise your right hand. Unanimous?
I abstain.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. The annual meeting minutes of Monday, March 5th, 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Franny moved, Ken second. Any discussion?
Second.
I can't read it. That's all right. Okay. Seeing none? All in favor, raise your right hand.
Abstain.
One abstention. Payroll warrants, number 24, number 1,039, number 25, number 1,042.
So moved.
Second.
Franny motion, Ken second. Any discussion? Seeing none, please raise your right hand. Unanimous? Vendor warrants, 1,040 and number 1,041.
So moved.
Second.
Fran moved and Ken second. Any discussion? Seeing none, please raise your right hand. Unanimous. We have the cash flow and the reserve and expenses reports. They're attached or in your Bad. Committee reports.
I have
I'm sorry.
a quick question about, our business manager left, but in the local budget summary, there's a line item for engineering and design for like $3,000, and since we suspended that program, why do we have a $3,000 cost there?
There was the engineering and design, sorry.
Does it have something to do with the facilities?
Roof?
Roofs?
I believe,
Paving.
are you asking, is there a budgeted expense that's listed, or just there was a budget item? And we had been continuing to keep the project
Lead the
Lead the Way, which cost
Oh,
$3,000.
okay, that
And I don't
It was a-
believe that we've renewed it this year because
Right.
we've gone
It
in
was a
different
mem-
direction, but
that
that was.
explains
A membership fee, if you will,
Yes.
to-
But
for access
that's
to
why I had-
software, but.
Yes.
I get it, I didn't know we had continued
Yeah.
Project Lead the Way. Thank you.
Okay, the committee reports. There was a policy meeting. Unfortunately, I don't have you didn't have enough to appoint a chairman. We will do that the next time. We went over discussion on superintendent evaluation and review, which I know is right at the forefront of everybody's questions and thoughts right now. I think that we're going to present that a little later on for adoption, I believe. And we also looked at, I think it was idling policy. And it came news to me that it is against the law to let your cars idle for more than whatever. Do we know what the time frame was? 5 minutes, 20 minutes? I don't know what it was.
I believe it's 10 minutes.
10 minutes. And so we're gonna put up some signs, and I think we're putting up some signs out there and ask people to shut off their cars. So we'll go over that when we go to adopt it tonight.
That'll work at 20 below.
Yeah, well, we'll have to take a look at it. So that's really all that happened in policy, and I'm sure we'll have that meeting again before next board meeting where we'll appoint a chairman and he'll be able to discuss it in more detail than I can. Tonight, we had an educational facilities meeting. They made Ed Letourneau the chairman, and I'm sure Ed will give us more information about what happened tonight.
We only got halfway through the agenda for the Educational Facilities Committee meeting, but we reviewed 10 items of planned and ongoing projects that are going to be required by the facility. And we had a considerable discussion about the daycare lease renewal, which is a contracted operation using one of our classrooms. And there'll be more information coming forward on that in the future. The items we didn't get to in the committee meeting were setting the length of the school and instructional day, adopting the school calendar, and a Perkins Grant update. That summarizes the hour-long meeting.
We were very well attended tonight,
Yes, we were. We had
extremely well. Okay.
several board members that came.
While we were on committees, I don't know if Sandy gave everybody the list of the committees.
Pass these around.
Okay, thank you, Sandy.
On the back side are the committees.
The front side is our names, addresses, emails, phone numbers. And the back, and the other side is the committees that I've put you on. I think that I've followed through and gave everybody the committee they wanted or could live with, I guess. I'll pass that on, please. Francis. You can read it for yourself, but I'll just go down quick. Rob, you're on education facilities and policy, and one thing I'll say right up front, I believe we have at least 4 on every committee. Like tonight, I think we had 7 or 6. There's more than enough to share the load, so don't feel obligated to make every committee. I'd love to see you there, but don't feel obligated. I know we have other things going on in our lives and working on the school committees. John Gothier, who wasn't able to attend tonight, he'll be on finance. Jessica will be on education facilities. I'm the chair, and accordingly, I should be at every committee, and I do try to make them. Art will be on policy. Leanne will be on finance and policy. And I think he made it clear he does not want to be the chairman again this year, so. We got Jackie, policy and the superintendent's evaluation, Fran Kinney, education, facility and finance, Ed Letourneau, education facilities, John McDonald, education facilities, Ken Square, education facilities and finance. And the one that doesn't show up here is we are going to be going into negotiations with the teachers probably sometime this year. And so I've put Fran Kinney on that board. He's spent many years on him. I think he's done a good job and a fair job, and I don't think there's too many of you people want to jump up and down and volunteer for that position anyways.
Leon is good at that, too.
Yes, he is.
I
Yeah,
didn't
matter of
think
fact, I
this
think
year-
he's on
I didn't think this year
on
was
Anthony.
a negotiation.
I think they start the year before,
Yeah,
try to get their
ready.
ducks in a row.
MAU's getting ready.
Yeah, because it was only a 2-year.
Oh, it's only a 2-year contract.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's because the healthcare costs were changing and they're going to change again.
So I think that pretty much takes care of it. Again, goes without saying, but the superintendent evaluation is Jackie, Ed, and myself, and hopefully we'll get started on that here in a few weeks. The other side of the page, or the other, it's the other side of the page has, again, everybody's name, address, phone number, and their emails. And so, other than that, any questions having to do with committees? Like I said, please feel free to tell me to write your name off, or don't feel like you have to make every one of them. It would be appreciated though if you did.
I have a correction for my telephone number.
Oh, wait a minute. I have that one. Mine's all on. Mine's ahead, Jackie.
Just jot it down and pass it.
Right.
Just want to jot it down. Pass it.
Sure.
Yes,
And do.
we'll get that updated. Okay, let's move on to the action items. And we want to adopt the school calendar. Has everybody gotten the school calendar in front of you?
It's actually 3 school calendars in your Dropbox.
These are the last ones that Sandy handed out, I believe.
Yes.
I need one.
Yep, we're gonna send them right through. I don't know if we got enough or not. Might have to bring back one.
Anybody need a copy?
Another one.
You got another one? Yes.
He said there were 3 different ones, so what are we?
In your electronic Dropbox, there are 3 school calendars. One, which is the BBA calendar, one is the Arlington calendar, and one is the SVSU calendar. Historically speaking, the superintendents of the region meet and develop as common as possible a calendar to meet the needs of the students in the region. It's difficult to do at best. There are different contracts, there are a different number of school days, different number of hours. There's a million moving factors to it. Exaggerate, it's not really a million, there's only 900,000. What I can tell you is that historically we have adopted, for the regional school district, we've adopted the SVSU calendar. It's one that the most of our students come from. I can tell you I did a cross count with Arlington, which is our next largest sending district. There are 175 student contact days that are the same between Arlington and MAU. That is if all days align, snow days, et cetera, there are 175. There are no requirements of the number of days that have to align, but 175 is the ideal goal, and that's what we have with Arlington. It's very difficult with Burton to align their calendar. They're under a very different contract, very different school time, both starting and end, as well as when school begins. in the year and when school ends in the year for graduation. Very, very different. So it's my recommendation that we adopt the calendar that's before you tonight, which is labeled the Southwest Vermont Supervisory Union, which we've done historically. The only real changes to this, it's my understanding the SU has already adopted this calendar, is that it has us coming back on the 27th of August with teacher professional development and a graduation date of June 14th, with really 10 days, if you will, at the end of the calendar for snow days. This year, we used a lot of snow days this year, more than ever. I believe we're at 8, maybe even 9, and 2 years ago we didn't use any. It's really a moving target at the end of the year. So that's the real changes to this. February break, April break, December break, all are about the same spot as they were before. And again, I can answer any questions about the calendar. Yes.
I have one.
Why do grades 10 and 12 start a day later?
So last year it was requested the principal of Mount Anthony to have a freshman orientation day, freshman academy type day to get students oriented to the building. We supported that last year, and I support it again this year. I think that it was a good initiative for the freshmen only to come to Mount Anthony for the day, kind of get used to the layout of the building. We're open and scheduled that day, so we'll have students from other sending schools that day. It won't just be, we just won't have 10th, 11th, 12th graders from Mount Anthony that day, that's all.
I wonder if the statistics of those who, they come to school on Friday and then they have 3 days off. Thank you.
Were you able to check what Lucy Valley's?
Their calendar's not been released yet.
Isn't August 16th Bennington Battle Day?
August 17th.
17th?
August 17th is Bennington Holiday.
It is? I would guess it was the 16th too.
I think it's actual 16th, but I think they celebrate on 17th
Yeah.
first.
Because it's a
Well,
Friday?
Yes,
Okay.
go along with other national holidays. They
Yeah.
take off on Mondays and Fridays.
And they're using the 16th.
I'm guessing.
For new teacher orientation and.
It doesn't
it's a
apply,
holiday.
it doesn't apply to us, so.
No.
No.
Right.
Remember, we are blending multiple calendars, laying them on top of each other, if you will. So everything that's on here doesn't necessarily apply to the tech center, like the new teacher orientation or half-day K-8. And you've got to kind of peel back the calendar. And what we do is develop
That's 2018.
a calendar that we then give to kids, that looks on whether they go to Arlington, they go to the Falls, they come here, and
Your best.
we do the best we can. Well, that's all. But I do need the school board to make a motion to adopt a school calendar this evening.
I'll make the motion to adopt the SVSU calendar.
Second.
Franny made the motion, Ken seconded it. Further discussion?
Well, this is 2019.
19.
Any other public discussion? Okay. Seeing no other discussion, please raise your right hand in favor. Unanimous? Okay, we're back to action items. Warrant of policy 2600C, superintendent evaluation and review.
So moved. Second.
Franny second, Franny made the motion, Ken second. Discussion. Rob? Okay.
Scratching my head.
Okay. I've been known to do that too.
It's a while,
Yeah, I hear you. Let me see here. I don't know if we can say too much more about it, do you?
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. Is this just the format that we're approving?
We're trying to warn it,
Just warning the process.
we're not
Yes,
adopting
okay.
it. I believe you just can warn it, and then any other further comments should go back to the policy committee.
Correct. It's just being warned.
Anybody have any comments, thoughts? I know it doesn't give you a lot of time to check this out.
think it's sufficiently broad enough to give the board the latitude it needs to do the work, but lays out a fair procedure for doing so.
I think so too, after we went through it quite a little bit.
I just would advocate, like, for the rest of the board and the public, if there are comments, that we're just warning this, and it can certainly go back to committee if there are changes wanted or questions that need to be answered for the following meeting. This is, again, it's just being warned tonight.
Okay. All in favor of adopting, or excuse me, of warning this policy? Please raise your right hand. That's unanimous. Idling of vehicles. And I guess we're warning that also, I guess.
I'll move that.
Second?
Randy moved it, Ken second. Discussions.
All these policies that the state is asking us to adopt, you know, the Vermont School Board Association, they have their own legal counsel, they draw up those kind of policies, and they have them checked over by the lawyer, and they're available for any board, so, you know, if you have any questions, you can call them up, they'll send you a copy of generic idling policy.
I wouldn't be surprised that we've already done that, but I'm not discrediting it.
Yeah, if any of them that are required by the state or recommended, the VSBA gets them all done for us.
I don't think it's a bad policy. I'm not sure that's enforceable.
Especially in the winter time.
Yeah.
Or on buses, you know, you gotta be careful.
Right. Seeing no comments, all in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous.
When there are regulations to allow limited idling as needed for health and safety, I'd like to see that. That's item 6 in the policy. And I presume we'll follow whatever the SVSU creates, but I would like to see it.
I would presume that this was created by the SVSU.
I would assume the same thing, and I would also believe that it's based on the actual law. All right. Superintendent's report. I'm sorry?
You didn't vote on that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we did. All in favor of the warning of idling vehicles, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Thank you. Okay, you're up, Mike.
Good evening, everybody. First of all, I'd like to thank publicly Stephanie Mulligan for another year of a very clean audit. Takes a lot of work to make that happen in the business office. As I told Stephanie, you know, to me, an audit is the ultimate public evaluation and scrutiny of the job. And so congratulations again on that. It's a big undertaking for the audit, and to have it come back with no material deficiencies and a clean bill of health, if you will, is really nice to hear. So thank you, Stephanie. Next, if you follow our Facebook page, you'll see that we just returned from Skills USA, and most of my report tonight is going to be focused on students. That's what we do. 39 CDC students participated in the 2018 Vermont Skills USA Leadership and Skills Conference in Burlington, Vermont. Students participated in 15 different skills and leadership competitions, bringing home a total of 21 medals. Gold medalists will travel to Skills USA National Leadership and Skills Conference in Louisville, Kentucky during the last week of June, to which you'll be seeing a field trip approval for soon. The winners I want to publicly acknowledge: Automotive Technologies, Aaron Jelly; Cosmetology, Teresa Burgess; Law Enforcement, 2 different categories: Crime Scene Investigation, Gabe Niles, Isaac Sibley, Emily Calkins; the Criminal Justice Team, Cam Turner, Riley McDonald, and Dennis Collette; Manufacturing and Design, CNC Turning, Aaron Harrington; CNC Milling, Kevin McKenna; CNC Technician, Owen Denyu; Med Professions, there are 4 different categories: The Health Knowledge Bowl, Chloe Crawford, Cassidy Danforth, Liam Drew, and Sam Irion. Job skill demonstration, Chloe Crawford. Medical terminology, Nicole Main. Extemporaneous speaking, Sam Irion. And the guerrilla communications, which you have to see to believe it, is Emily Calkins, Morgan Flynn, and Sam Irion. So this was our largest group of students that have gone to Skills USA, and we've been promoting our CTSOs more actively in the last few years. It was nice to see them all leave as a big group early in the morning with lots of luggage and lots of equipment to go to Burlington. We have a fair amount of people going to Louisville. I believe at last count close to 15 between chaperones, 16 between chaperones and students. So that list is yet to be finalized. Students have to commit fairly soon, I think by the end of this week actually, if they are going to go or not, and so that we can start booking travel arrangements and getting kids out there. That is the last week in June.
Is there any cost for the students themselves who want to attend?
There is. The cost varies. This year the cost is approximately between $310 and $315 a student. That can be offset with additional fundraising, but there's not a lot of time to fundraise between now and June, but that's historically what students have paid, and that's what the advisors estimate this year the contribution would be from students to participate out in Louisville. So while Skills USA is our largest CTSO, there are also other things that are going on in programs. I want to read you this from our pre-law program. As you know, we're the only pre-law program in the state of Vermont, so that is interesting. While there are other law-type classes in other schools, there isn't any CTE pre-law. And so each year, Bruce and his students participate in the state mock trial competition. So I'd like to read you what I prepared for that. 13 students of the pre-law program traveled to Vermont Law School on Saturday, April 7th, just this past Saturday, to compete in the second annual mock trial competition sponsored by the Federal District Court of Vermont, Vermont Law School, and the Vermont Bar Association. Students competed against students from 3 other schools, Burton Academy, Brattleboro High School, and Rutland High School. While not winning the best team competition, one of our members, Gracie Smith, an Arlington student, was awarded Best Defense Attorney. Students received many congratulations for the high quality of work and oral advocacy from the assembled judges, which included federal judges Crawford and Conroy, as well as Justice Eaton from the Vermont Supreme Court and several other state judges. Local attorney Lon McClintock acted as legal coach to come into class on numerous occasions and assist the students. Michael Munson, also a local attorney, participated in 2 days of the trial preparation during March, and we thank them for their assistance and encouragement. I think I spoke about this last month. During an MAU delay day for testing, we had the Arlington students from the Arlington campus come here, and they spent 2 full days here on campus prepping for the mock trial. It was nice to have them come down and spend time at the CDC since they're taking a CDC program. Our school is much larger than Arlington Memorial High School, and so as you walk into our school, it's a pretty vast looking school. It's very impressive, and I think the students enjoyed their time here. In fact, I know they enjoyed their time here, so that was really nice. Let's see. Also, people have asked about, I've distributed to the faculty today, and the board has asked about this. I have the official letter and recommendations from the New England Association of Schools and Colleges regarding the school's reaccreditation as the Decennial Review. I'm going to read this letter to you, not in its entirety. I'm going to get, the most of it is 2 pages. It has been mailed, it is in the Dropbox, and will also be posted on our website, and teachers were notified today. So, this is, Dear Mr. Lawler, the Committee on Technical and Career Institutions at its March 18th and 19th, 2008 meeting, reviewed the decennial evaluation report from the 2017 visit to the Southwest Vermont Career Development Center and voted to award the school full continued accreditation in the New England Association of Schools and Colleges. The school's 2-year progress report is due September 1st, 2019, and a 5-year focus visit will be scheduled in the fall of 2022. The committee was impressed with many of the programs and services and wishes to commend you on the following. The safe, positive, respectful, and supportive culture that fosters student responsibility for learning and makes the center a welcoming place. Sustained leadership, which has allowed trust to develop and change the culture in a positive way. An attractive, well-maintained and equipped facility. The professional and purposeful system of budget development and implementation that includes both administration and faculty. The provision of industry-standard equipment and supporting technology that supports curricular needs, required competencies, and workplace readiness. The professional staff utilizes a variety of formative and summative assessment strategies to assess student learning and provide immediate feedback for student growth. The capacity to differentiate and personalize instruction to meet the needs of all learners. And finally, the emergency operations plan that is frequently reviewed, practiced, and updated in conjunction with Mount Anthony Union High School. The committee has made the following recommendations for institutional improvement. They're recommending we continue to work on our core values and beliefs. They're recommending that each program has a common format for curriculum, that we implement a graduate follow-up study, and ensure that all program advisory committees remain active membership and meet regularly, record minutes, and provide guidance for program improvements. Those are standards 1 and 2. The committee congratulates the school, administration, and faculty for completing the first 2 phases of the accreditation program, the self-study and the decennial visit. The committee trusts that the staff and administration of the SVCDC found the evaluation process professionally rewarding and especially directed to the benefit of students. The committee believes the evaluation report should provide guidance for the staff and administration as they work to build on past accomplishments. All those associated with the New England Association of Schools and Colleges can take pride in their collective commitment in improving career and tech education through regional accreditation. Sincerely, George Edwards and Bruce Sievers. Carbon copy to Todd Fields, the visiting chair team. So this was a big undertaking. It is not an event that ends. This is great that we are fully reaccredited, but we still have work to do as any school does. I think the committee's made some very reasonable recommendations of things that we can do to improve what we do here. And I think they've made some very nice commendations of things that they visited while they were here. You have to remember that these are a group of people from other career and tech centers across New England that converge on us for about a week. They don't know us. They're coming in with their own views of school and what we provided and spitting out a 187-page report, which I just am reading you 2 brief pages of a formal letter from. So the report will now be released. I can release it to the board and to the public. The plan is to release the full report to the faculty. We're going to start first with the program evaluations or the program narratives. Those are the ones that are most tangible to teachers to say, oh, this is what the committee really liked, this is what we can make recommendations on, and then peel it out from there on the other 7 standards to work on. And so that's going to be the process. So this will help us drive our action planning over the next 2 years and 5 years until our next visit. The 5-year visit is much less intense. It's a follow-up to the recommendations that they've made, and it's just like a 2-day visit. And then another 5 years, if we're still members of NEASC or whatever's still around, we'll start the process over again. So I hope that the board's pleased with this. Everyone should be. I think the faculty and staff are very pleased with it. Some may be hearing it tonight for the first time. I sent it out late this afternoon in an email because I didn't get it until the mail came today. And I was hoping it would be here for tonight's meeting. So just want to thank everyone for their hard work on this, and congratulations to the school on receiving full regional accreditation again. It's a big deal. That's the end of my report. I do have Meg has some things to speak with you about though.
So I'm back. They let me back into the continental U.S. First, I want to thank the board for not just providing the students the opportunity, but I felt like I also had a great experience there. The students, they were the best students I've ever taken on a field trip. And I think that says a lot because they were gone from home for a week, you know, many of them had never flown before and had a lot of new experiences that could be stressful too. But they were great. In May, we're going to do a full presentation to the board that'll give Sienna, who's the video productions student, time to really develop the video that she wants to show you. The kids were hardworking. You know, I never once had to ask them to work or to, you know, get up and do something or whatever. You know, even Sienna, the video production student, you know, wanted to help out. When you saw what people were living in and the fact that they've been living this way for 6 months, it really made you want to put everything down and just do whatever you can. The family that whose house we worked on were extremely happy and grateful that, you know, we helped them, because they've been waiting and waiting and waiting for help. In May, you'll hear more about, probably more about the family, as well as some of the devastation that we saw. There was a report of a man who has diabetes, who has no electricity, so therefore has no refrigeration for his insulin. His roads are washed out. I mean, this is what people are still living in. There were many times on the side of the road, power lines were down. I didn't see a phone in the family's home, like a landline. From what I understand, most of the landlines are still down. So you have to rely on cell service, which isn't the greatest amongst all the mountains. But I just wanted to make sure I thanked you for supporting our students and for giving them this opportunity. It was a chance of a lifetime, and you'll see more of it in May.
Great.
Thank you. Is there any questions for board members?
What's that little picture, that little boy you guys were working with?
Carlos.
Yeah. He was very happy that 24 people were there to play with him. So we did, the later in the week it got, we kind of took turns, entertaining him. So, and he helped out as much as he could too.
And this Wednesday, we're doing an all-school, CDC anyway, presentation for at least our morning students, I believe the afternoon as well, for students to present to students about what their experiences were while they were in Puerto Rico, from the time they left to the time they got back, and what impacted them, and so that our student body knows not just the Facebook photos of Carlos and his family, but what the trip was actually like. And so we think that was the faculty asked for that. I think we should really have a school-wide assembly on this, and so that's what we're going to do this Wednesday morning.
When's that going to be and what time?
Yeah, are parents invited?
It's no. We didn't invite parents. What we're hoping is for the May meeting is that if it's going to be on the agenda, and then if parents and community members want to see the full presentation to the board and the community, that would be the night for it. So Wednesday morning is just a student event. I think the kids are nervous enough about it, and having more adults here, this will be a good dry run for them, for the board.
Practice.
Not that we don't want parents here, that's not the message, but in May, will be kind of the public piece of that, so.
There were also a ton of compliments for our students too. Not just their behavior and their work ethic, but the skills that they brought to the site. I think we really impressed a lot of people. These were second-year building trade students. Sienna's a second-year video production student, and they did you proud.
Thanks, Rick. That's all I have.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Sure.
A couple of months ago, I thought we were going to have a presentation by security. It was Victor, and I'm not sure his last name.
Milani.
Milani.
Yes, it was scheduled for last month. for our board meeting, but the night got moved due to another community event that evening. And our board meeting night changed from the third Monday to the second Monday. And so Vic was scheduled to be here for the third Monday of the month on his calendar, not this Monday of the month. So that answers your question. I can certainly have him on the May agenda if you wish, or not. That's up to the board.
I've had this thought ever since I met with you and looked over our facility security. I was surprised at how little I knew about what we were really doing here. And I personally would like to see a presentation done by you to the rest of the board, showing all the things that we are doing to secure the school. I think we're fairly fortunate that we live in a community where the Bennington police are just minutes away, but we all know if there was a active shooting that minutes is a lifetime. We're also very fortunate to have the resource officer, excuse me, thank you. It's usually 20 hours Mount Anthony, usually 20 hours of the CDC. So we are covered with a security guard who has a gun, potential to protect us. That is the exception. That's not the rule in Vermont. So we ought to be all proud of that we have that kind of security for ourselves, our teachers, staff, students. But that said, once I saw what we are actually doing, I really think it's something we should present to the board. And I'm asking for Mike to do that. I'm just not sure if we want to do it in public or if we want to go into executive session, because there might be some issues that we may not all agree that we want out in public. So I don't know where to go from here, do you?
I defer to the superintendent to decide whether or not he wants to keep some of it in executive session. I saw the same or a presentation at MAU, and one of the things that I came away with that I wasn't aware of was that the CDC and MAU have the capability of direct communication with the Bennington PD, which would be very useful in an emergency.
Would you mind next month presenting our security, and you do it in a manner that you think is this most professional, safest, most appropriate?
Sure.
Anybody have any objections to that?
No, I have a question though.
Go ahead, Joe.
Last month or the month before, I forget what had happened, but there was a problem with the internet being down at Molly Star, for instance. And the SVSU instituted a redundant system, a secondary system. So I was wondering, have you experienced the same thing?
No, we have a different provider for internet service during the SPSU's outage with Fairpoint or Consolidated Communications, I think it's called now. We don't have that provider. We have level 3. SovereignNet is the backbone for it, and we already have a secondary system in place through Comcast that we could feed the building. So, yes.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Will Vic join us?
That's up to the board. I'm sure Vic will be happy to come. I can't speak for him if he's available that date, but or if you prefer for me to present it, it's really entirely up to what the board wishes.
Is the Puerto Rico trips presentation substantial?
Was that on for next?
That's
on
for
for
May.
next
Yeah,
The next one?
that's for me.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's, I don't wanna.
the MAU,
We can also
Security.
present to you in June. I mean, it's
Yes, let's do that.
fine. I mean,
the MAU security presentation took a good 40 minutes.
Oh.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of comments and questions.
Right.
I just think it's important that the community has a real feel that when they send their students to school that they're safe, and that, and quite frankly, after talking with Mike, I walked out of here feeling 100% safe. I can't say 100%, you never will be 100%, but
Confident.
very confident, very confident. So I'd like to have everybody know what, or try to know everything that he knows. Other
So we'll
than
put that on the
that,
agenda for June. Is that
yes,
June?
yes, we're gonna stay with Meg in May. Okay, good. Anybody have any other? Yes, sir.
I just wanted to let the board know that on May 7th, at CCV, around 9 o'clock, I believe, and Meg's aware of this, Oscar, and I forget his last name, he's the head of the Career Pathways piece. Well,
So
anyway,
it's from the
he's-
Agency of Education.
Yes.
an agency of education is going to be here in Bennington, and so staff from the CDC are going to be going. I unfortunately can't attend that date, but board members want to attend. Obviously, he's a big person in a lot of what goes on here in the state and the work that is done here at the school. So if you want to hear a presentation from him or have any questions for the Agency of Education, May 7th around 9 at CCV in the community room, he's going to be here. So I know Meg's going to be there. I don't know if you can make it, Mike, but
Rob, actually, I have a meeting with Oscar at CCB. He's gonna come here,
Great.
tour the center and meet with me.
that's awesome.
Directly.
So, but for board members, if you're interested, he will be here if you have any questions for him.
What time?
I think at 9.
Mhm.
He's coming from Barry, I believe, so they're trying to give him, so he can get up at 4 in the morning to get down here.
You can't get there from here. Vice versa.
I kind of said, you sure guys don't want to give him a room somewhere around here so he doesn't have to drive down, but, so anyway, just so that you know, in case you wanted to chat with him at all, he will be here, which is nice. They decided to come down.
Sure is.
And that-
Yes, Meg.
That just reminded me of the upcoming Career Week. Today, we had the Sophomore Summit, the annual Sophomore Summit, and then the week of the 23rd through the 27th has been identified as Career Week for us, and we have every program either going out on a field trip or doing a presentation. We're focusing more so on the Northshire than we have in the past. So I think that's a good move, and I think that those are new experiences for our kids. We're also, the medical professions program and the cosmetology program are both going to be at the middle school's career fair, and that's on Wednesday, April 25th.
Okay. Any other?
Is our next meeting May 14?
Yes.
That's second Monday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll look.
I have one quick question about our FTEs. Do we have 12 students from Hoosick Falls?
Yes.
That's good.
Okay. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved
Franny made the motion.
with the music.
Ken's music seconded it.
Second.
Dave, second by John McDonald. All in favor, raise your right hand, please. It's unanimous. Good night, everyone.
Good night, thank you.